Call please.
Dr. Little. Present. Trustee Lopez. Trustee Dopplemore. Present. Trustee Ramos.
Present.
President Calhoun.
Present.
Student Trustee Hans. Dr. Curry.
Here. Item 2.01, approval of closed session agenda. Can I have a motion? Motion by trustee Little, second by trustee Ramos. Do we have any discussion? Dr. Little? No discussion. Trustee Lopez? Trustee Dopplemore? No discussion. Trustee Ramos?
No discussion.
President Calhoun? Steve, no discussion. You know, discussion, please place your online vote.
We're just ready for Dr. Little.
Yes.
Anybody else like to do a verbal vote? For approval of closed session agenda.
Did everybody?
Yes, that is a unanimous yes vote.
Item 3, do we have any requests to address the board of trustees on closed session agenda items?
No, we have not received it.
3.02. Trustees, do we have any requests for future agenda items? Dr. Little?
Not at this time.
Trustee Lopez?
No.
Trustee Dopplemore?
Yes. The 20, the student success plan, 2023. Actions that Compton College will be taken to support those initiatives.
I just need more clarification. Are you talking about Vision 2030?
Yes, I'm sorry, I said it wrong. Is that something that's on tonight? Because I kind of saw something on that. Is that in line or is that completely separate?
That's that we will provide for this. Is that on the agenda for that?
Okay, so could that be, is that possible? Okay.
I'll take issue with it. I don't want, it's not on the agenda, so I just could say that's something.
Future agenda.
Trustee Ramos?
Right.
President Calhoun? No, I'm talking about it. We will adjourn the closed session at 5:11 p.m. Roll call, please.
Dr. Little. Trustee Lopez.
Present.
Trustee Dopplemore. Present. Trustee Ramos. President Calhoun.
Present.
Student Trustee Carnes. Present. Dr. Curry.
Here. Student trustee Carnes, can you lead us in the pledge of allegiance?
Ready?
The board will recess to return to closed session after our item 19, which is oral reports. I report back and pay the flight that we do for 549, 550. Item 701. Okay. Item 701, approval of open session agenda. That's correct. Do we have any corrections or additions to the agenda?
Yeah, I have three corrections. The first correction is item number 12.16 personnel matter. Item number 1A2 should be $1,000 comma after one. And then item number 1A1 should be deemed as athletics and student support service. The second one is item 1A1. The position should be deemed athletics and student support service. And the other item that was correction, which is item 15, grant items, and the board packet said none, but actually out there is one. Those are my corrections.
Can I have a motion?
I have a description. Bring it to me. So I put on the agenda, I believe it's item number 9. Or it has C and D. I would just like to provide what that stands for. California Military Department GI Bill Awards Program. That's the C and D bill, GI Bill. It's California Military Department Awards Program. So it's the GI Bill. It was item number. I believe it's like item number 9. It was where.
Are you talking about the minutes? Are you talking about for?
Am I ahead of schedule?
Yeah, that was.
Okay, sorry. I'll take that from
Can I have a motion? Do we have any discussion? Student trustee Carnes? Dr. Little? No discussion. Trustee Lopez? Trustee Dopplemore?
No discussions.
Trustee Roman? I have no discussion. Three of those discussion, please place the vote on mine, and I think that's. Log out, Mark. Yes. Item 8, request to address the board of trustees, agenda, non-agenda matters. Pursuant to board policy 2350, public participation. This is an opportunity for members of the public to address the board of trustees on agenda and non-agenda items. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to speak. Maybe you have the first, you're calling, please.
Jacqueline Barra.
Good afternoon, everyone. To the board and everyone here, my name is Jacqueline Barrett. We have been asking you since 2021, over 2 years, to restore the entire Emily Hart Holyfield name outside of the Compton College Library. That was dedicated in her honor by a large cross-section of ministers, public officials, and citizens in 1995. I'm here to inform you, as promised last October 2023, that if her name was not outside the library in 2024, I'm going to recall every board member that's sitting up here for allowing each person to gain play, preventing illness name from being restored back outside of the college library. No threat, just a promise. Good night. I have the first petitioner, which is you. I have to turn it into the county before I serve, okay? And I had to get 30 signatories in 2 days. I have a good evening. God bless you all and happy new year.
Deborah asked you.
Nothing.
Good afternoon. For the last year, I have been discussing the knowledge of this is the board of trustees. Please, I'm gonna check the report because I'm looking at the statement about one of the candidates. Current and prior control. That's not good. Person that. Have another issue. The survey to activate a statement. And I think they're really poor. It's not those students. Looking at the news report, the show that the students are the part of the and also some of the also 2 months ago about LA and usually LA time verification acquiring property. The Lord come here. And then you know they're here. For example, I'll tell you how to hospital accreditation, health, y'all let it down, they severed the tie of Black medical school purpose. What's happening to you? Graduation rates. Very low. You really have to go to another website to get some information about students, the total students enrolled. I just make this short because I think it's funny, but I'm just talking about the enrollment this year. Graduation rate is much lower than the average. 2023 graduation rate for Compton College is 11%. Part 1, part 2. Thank you. There are no more.
Item 802. Compton Community College District Board of Trustees. Item request. Trustees, do we have any requests for future agenda items? Student trustee call. Trustee Little. All right, Dr. Little. Trustee Lopez. Trustee Dr. Moore. Trustee Ramos.
To the one at camera, I guess. Right away, though. Actually,
Or working with the city. Working with the city in order or board meetings to be televised on a station. You know, the city that are going to be televised. I know they have never been televised. But this is basically. And, this newspaper, everybody keep themselves, our board meetings need each other. So that in and right? I don't have to can watch it, television, not just over there, over here. So. Item 9. Board of Trustees mini meetings. This, okay, go. Move by Trustee Ramos,
second.
second by Dr. Little. Roll, that's all motion. Do we have any discussion?
Yes.
Discussion. Trustee
Not,
Dr.
not discussion, so my, again, my corrections on 9, so again, item number 12, I looked it up. And you, is that CMD? It stands for California Military Department Awards Program. And it's the GI Bill.
Is this in the minutes?
But I'm just saying, but it's,
No,
so
we're doing, I just want to make sure we, come on.
right, so it's just corrections.
Is it corrected in the minutes? That's what I'm asking. Okay. Okay.
Military Department Awards Program. It's the GI Bill. And also on number, it's on the comments on the oral report. The sentence, it says, for my comments, it says, I think you said it's like, it's been a long calendar. I think it's, for that, it's like long semester. The sentence, it doesn't make sense. The intent and what I was saying is like, it's been a long semester. And I just looked at that and it's not a, complete thought. It says, thanking everyone, it has been a long calendar. It would be a long semester. And that's all I have on just those things that I know. Thank you.
Please place, is there all the corrections made? Please place your online vote.
That's a good answer.
Item 10, reports from representatives and employee organizations. 10.01, Associated Student Government Report. Crystal Moore. Okay. Then 10.02, academic Senate report, Dr.
He did contact me and say she was not able to get the previous schedule.
10.03, CCCFE certificated employee report, Dr. David Chapman.
Hey, Board of Trustees, happy New Year, Dr. Curry. It's here as well, a lot of my colleagues here. So, this will be just a quick update and report. So, we are happy to report that the Federation on December 22nd received notice from Dr. Martinez that the district has completed its investigation and is now ready to begin negotiations with us. So, after now being able to be at the bargaining table for the last 6 weeks of our fall semester. Which again, just to underscore and highlight that we didn't agree to that, we wanted to continue. But it didn't happen that way, but now we are happy to report that the district now has contacted us on December 22nd. We're ready to put the bargaining table. And I'm very excited in terms of the bargaining table. I can definitely say that on behalf of the whole entire negotiating team for the Federation. And the reason I can say that is because our negotiation team and the approach that we have for our table is to have open bargaining, which means that we allow all dues-paying members, rank and file members to attend and participate, not just as silent participants, but to actually engage in the process of bargaining. We are a transparent and democratic organization on our campus, and that's how we approach it. And so we think that this is a great opportunity for the district's negotiation team to really hear the on-the-ground impact of what it means for a substantial change to our contract, and also why we proposing the article. And overall, I just want to let everyone know, the Board of Trustees know that we're specifically excited to bargain in good faith for a just and equitable contract that addresses the, not going to be hyperbolic, but I definitely hear it from my colleagues, part-time and full-time faculty, the dire situation that of not having COLA or cost of living adjustment in over 6 years on our campus, according to many part-time and full-time faculty members, making us again our district being out of 13 districts in our county having the least amount of pay for starting salary, for experience 20 years working at campus, or having the highest amount of teaching credentials, for having your PhD or anything like that. Across all those sectors, we are number 13 out of the 13 different community colleges that serves Los Angeles County. And I think in particular, it just makes a lot of sense for us to bring this up, because the results of not having competitive pay, strong pay, or just or equitable pay, and not even the minimum of cost of living adjustments, has allowed many of our faculty try to seek work out, made it hard to recruit faculty, hard to sustain, but also is directly impacting our students. We're going to be providing some more information, but just in terms of a qualitative example of many of our faculty having to work, even full-time faculty with experience, having to work at 2 or 3 or other campuses, not because of choice, but because of necessity, right? Because of the fact that over 20% inflation since 2019 has impacted our region. This is not an extent, but here y'all live, here y'all represent this community in the service area. So with all that said, we're very excited to be part of good faith, and we will be reporting hit the ground running week 1 of the spring semester when we are back on contract. Thank you very much, and by next time, I'll have more stats of the court, and you all know where we're at the federations. Thank you all very much. Good evening.
Please give me that classified employee report. Back to Kim. So. We are now on item 11. If that's okay with the board. Mr. Moore says you but everybody else is here talking about Kristen Moore the opportunity.
Would you like a motion?
That's okay, I just wanted to know how the board felt about it. Okay.
I don't have an
Item 11 is presentation. 11.01, 2022 to 2023, Compton Community College District Financial Aid Report. Dr. Curry, can you please introduce this item?
So this is our 2022-2023 Compton College District Financial Audit Report. And I would like to have Dr. Nasser, our Vice President of Administrative Services, introduce our auditor from CCCD will provide the overview report, which I've also shared with the board prior to today's meeting. We also provide another conference.
Thank you, Curry, for University. We present to you the audit report for the fiscal year 2023. For that presentation, we have planned with it here to see what we can average.
Thank you, Dr. Nasser. Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Curry. It's my pleasure to be with you here tonight to speak to the results of the audit for fiscal 23 at a very high level. I'll be keeping it pretty brief. Do not hesitate. If there's any questions in the document about our procedures, I'd be more than happy to go into additional detail. I just want to start by expressing our appreciation to staff under the leadership of Dr. Curry, Dr. Nasser, some of our main contacts, of course, being fiscal, Dr. Nasser, Mr. Redlandy, but also expanding into other departments, student financial aid, tremendous amount of focus, admissions and records. As a recipient of state and federal funding sources, the district's audit is a very broad audit, and I'll be speaking to that breadth as I go through the different reports that comprise it. So jumping right in to that, we've got just a quick little overview of what I'll be covering, and then on the very next slide, we speak to the scope of this document. This document contains 4 auditors' reports, kind of among the different financial presentations. The first of those 4 is our report, our independent auditor's report, which is our chief work product, where we speak to the fairness of the presentation of the overall district financials. As we can see on the very next slide, I'm very pleased to report, based upon the results of our work for fiscal 23, that in that independent auditor's report, on page 1 of this document, that our opinion for fiscal 23 is unmodified. That is the highest quality opinion that an audit firm is able to render, and is to say, based on the results of our work, these financial statements can absolutely be relied upon by this governing board, district, and all the district stakeholders. Immediately following that report, as you see on the very next slide, management's discussion and analysis right after that opinion is going to provide year-over-year analytical information pertinent to the core relative to the prior year report. On pages 16 through 21, we've got the basic financial statements, also known as core financials, which are those primary results of operations for the district at that snapshot date of June 30, 2023. And then following that section, we've got the remaining financial information. That's going to consist of the notes to the financials, the bulk of the document, sharing additional detail on the balances pertaining to the report, the required supplementary and the supplementary sections, which are giving those schedules as required for presentation by state and federal government. And then finally, the other independent auditors' reports toward the back end of the document, of which there are 3. I'll be speaking to those in detail. But one thing I just want to point out, in the body of the document, the district has provided all schedules as required by state and federal standards, including the implementation of GASB 96, which was required to be done this year, and the district is in timely implementation of that standard. Always a good thing to avoid not just audit exceptions, but stay fully in step with national standards.
Can you explain GASB 96?
I'd be happy to. Yes, so GASB 96, very similar to GASB 87, which was required for implementation in fiscal 22.
is a standard that requires all districts, similar to Compton Community College District around the country, really all governmental agencies, to take a look at really in particular software and look at it for the first time ever, like we would see a capital facility, like a building or an improvement to land or a significant piece of equipment, where under GASB 96 leased software on a lease that meets certain specific requirements would be brought on as an asset of the district rather than simply being expensed year over year. Very similar to how GASB 87 took lease equipment and buildings, did that exact same thing, required that for the first time ever, those be brought on as an asset, a right to use asset, rather than simply expensing that period over period. GASB, kind of falling in line with the FASB on the private side, looking at financials and seeing that sometimes lease equipment, lease software can have a really significant impact. And so not wanting to discount that just in the current period's expense portion of activity, but wanting to recognize that as an asset, an ongoing asset, and on the other side, an obligation of the district. So that's kind of the main change. And very pleased to note here the fiscal team at Compton oversaw successful implementation of that standard. And so moving on to the auditor's results, which encapsulate those final 3 audit reports. We've got them extracted on this page, which is the page right out of the report, where you can see in kind of small font the financial statements or the results of the Yellow Book opinion, federal awards, the results of the single audit report, and then state awards, the result of the state testing. Starting with the financial statements, Yellow Book opinion is a very common area to have audit exceptions. This is really going to focus in on our testing over fiscal controls, controls over compliance. Were we to note an exception over district fiscal controls and safekeeping, that would be noted in this section of the report, the Yellow Book section. That would be brought to your attention in the findings and question costs part of the report. Pleased to note to the board for fiscal 23, we note no exceptions to financial safety.
My only question is, that I didn't have. Okay. And I know that when y'all do audit reports, so maybe you ladies and gentlemen, whoever you audit,
Yes.
maybe you could think about the subject that, or even board members, that when you do something like that, maybe you might want to make the numbers clear.
That's a good observation. One other thing that I can do just for the members
Right now, it might be on the page, I see that.
on report document page 82, the public would also be able to see that page because I completely didn't have the present. The way that that displays based on our PowerPoint, it looks very small. So on that document page 82, we'll see that same information, and that should give a little bit clarity.
Thank you.
I've got the same thing going on. If I was sitting over there, I probably wouldn't be able to see that myself. So just to say, the financial statement section at the top of document page 82, or at the top of that very small blurb there, we've got no exceptions there for fiscal 23. Moving to the next section, federal awards. My apologies, same PowerPoint slide. Federal awards, that concerns our single audit testing. Main areas of focus for the federal single audit pertaining to the student financial aid cluster, which is always a really significant source of funding from the federal government, as well as for which was just kind of closing out fiscal 23, a massive source of funding coming from the CARES Act to higher education. Both of those areas, not areas where you want to have a comment, not an exception. Pleased to report to the board based on our testing, but we note no exceptions to federal awards. So an entirely clean federal single audit for fiscal 23, which I just want to provide a little perspective on that. That is never something to take for granted. We're working with approximately 40% of the system here in California. And when we do have instances of federal comments, they can take years to resolve. So it's an outstanding thing for your staff here to be so on top of. And then finally, state awards, the very bottom of that blurb at the bottom of document page 82. State awards is going to concern those procedures laid out by the Chancellor's Office in their annual updates to the contract with district audit manual they put out every year. This is a really broad area of testing. This is going to span multiple departments throughout the district. Had any exception been noted in any suggested audit procedure required under that section, we would bring that comment to this board's attention in not just this summary, but also in the findings question section. Members of the board will note that there were 2 exceptions noted in this portion of the report in the prior year, which I'll be speaking to. I'm very pleased to report for fiscal 23, we referred both of those prior comments as implemented in this current year, with no new comments noted for fiscal 23. And so for fiscal 23, an entirely clean audit spanning all 4 reports, which is not something that we get privileged to report every day. The independent auditors report an unmodified opinion, and then a clean opinion for both the Yellow Book report, the single audit, and the state awarded testing. And I just want to pause there for a moment, just to check in, see if there's any questions before I speak to the status of this prior findings. Based on our testing, very good shape. And so moving right to that final bit, we always like to provide a little bit of an update from those prior comments. You'll note there were 2 comments that were mentioned, findings 2022-001 and 002. 001 relating to the restricted general fund and the student financial aid fund deficit balances. We note in the current year, not only are there sufficient funds in unrestricted to more than cover both of those funds while leaving remaining balances for adequate reserves. We also note, based on the business type activity presentation of the report, that the fund financials are actually not complete. And so we reflect that comment as effectively.
You said the 2 exceptions, there's enough there to cover what was there, and that it's not a deficit.
That's exactly right. So there's sufficient unrestricted funding available to the district to meet all of its current obligations, including both the restricted general fund and the student financial aid fund. And in addition to that, maintain adequate reserves. And so we have no concern over the district's fund balances at that snapshot date. And then the second comment noted the prior year, finding 2022-002 over an isolated 1 in 60 item in enrollment status, where the prior auditor noted that there was a disconnect between the district's enrollment detail for 1 of 60 students selected and the enrollment records at the federal level maintained in the NSLDS database. Pleased to report, based on our testing of that area, we note no such exceptions in the current year, and so we were able to reflect that it's implemented. We love our acronym.
Yeah, y'all.
It's the gift out of medical class. NSLDS is a place where for student financial aid, student information can be maintained at the federal level, and it's used by that department as a way to reference SFA recipient students in order to ensure that funds are properly administered to eligible students rather than students that would not be meeting the terms of those programs. So many things that the SFA department is looking at, and that is one of the important areas they're focusing on. Minor kind of isolated point noting the prior audit relating to the record keeping in that database relative to local district records. Unfortunately, we didn't note that in our testing. So it does appear the district isn't that prior concern. I know I covered all that at a very high level. That concludes my presentation, but I just want to open for any questions any member of the board may have on any aspect of the audit report document or any of our procedures.
I like how you said how you completed that at the high level. Does that mean that we don't understand it, or?
No.
I mean, because, You said it, I didn't, you said a high level. So you-
High level, just to say in a very summary. So I try to do my best to not put boards to sleep, because I know this is always the most exciting part of the meeting. Fortunately,
Get money on the money about the college.
Well-
It's exciting.
you're still right. There, you know, if there are either exceptions or dramatic changes from your, that can be exciting. But fortunately, this is very boring audit from the standpoint of findings, of this notification. So there's nothing to it, exactly.
So, does any board member have a question? It's already done.
No, thank you first of all for the report. And the summary, as well as the ability to say nothing perfect. Just one question that because we have all these different categories, all of the fiscal, I guess, behaviors of the institution actual not because they're checks and balances. There were not, we would have shown up more.
Ultimately, an audit is on a sample basis. It's not forensic in nature, but having said that, yeah. And like you can see from peers throughout the state, it's a lot of these are very sensitive tests where if there were concerns over whether they be fiscal control or state or federal compliance and all of those very broad areas of testing, that would be done.
And then again, it's not a question, just a clarification, as you were talking about financial aid and also state awards that we see very high level of scrutiny, correct?
It is, yeah, the CDM manual is extremely prescriptive. I think that current year there were roughly around 15 procedures were required to test you. Almost every single one of them having multiple tests underneath it, spanning different district departments. And our perspective shared by the other firms that operate in this space is that those are really not great. If there is or is not an issue, irrespective of how significant that issue may be, that's something that's required to be reported. And so, had an exception been noted in appropriate areas, that would be brought to attention.
Trustee Rogers? Trustee Rogers?
Thank you for the high level overview. Yeah, but I don't have any comments. Thank you so very much.
Trustee Rogers? Trustee Jefferson? Already asked, but thank you so much for this, very good report. Thank you. That's-
I'm only the best. The results of the report are entirely the result of hard work from staff. It takes a tremendous amount of work from staff.
So, CWDL, that's your name, that it doesn't stand for anything.
See, we love our acronyms.
Oh,
Those are the initials of our last names of the departments that kick it off.
Okay. Y'all know acronyms, I'll get there. Thank you so much for that report.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, that's very good.
No, I think I am confident. I would say the one thing that's important to note is that over 10 years now, we've been 5% off. We have had one time price except for 1 year. And the district is in a solid position.
Congratulations. Y'all is hard work. Everyone in trouble. Oh. 1102, Oliver W. Program, Thomas Program. Secretary, can you please introduce the
Yes, today we have a presentation tonight regarding the Oliver College program and our coordinator for our college program and outreach.
Good afternoon, Board of Trustees, President Green, and members of the public. My name is Jordan Zarazi, and I am outreach and college comments coordinator. Slide. Today I will be covering what our promise program does like for the 2023 academic year. The table of contents that I will follow is a brief introduction of the promise program, some of the benefits of joining the promise program, eligibility that students should follow when participating in the promise program, some of the fees and costs associated with being a part of the promise program, and then we'll dive into some of the data for the 2023 applicants. We'll also look at success and retention rates, and then we'll go into what our outreach efforts were for the 2020. Lastly, I'll follow up with some of the next steps that we will take to ensure that we follow with outreach efforts. So for our Compton College program, one of the most exciting news that I am proud to follow is that the Promise program expanded in fall of 2023 to include all first-time college students, regardless if they live in the boundaries of the Compton Community College District, as long as they follow the main requirements listed on the slide. One being that they complete a federal application for free student aid or a California Dream application, and that they receive an award package. And the next being that they enroll in a minimum of 6 units per term. Some of the benefits of participating in the Promise program are that students receive guaranteed admission to Compton College. They also receive waived enrollment fees, and this waived enrollment fees can vary based on their part-time or full-time status. Students also receive up to $400 a year in books and course supplies from our bookstore. Students are also able to participate and receive a free laptop upon successful completion of their first year at Compton College. And students are also eligible to receive additional support services should they decide to be on a transfer plan. They also get assistance with our steps to enrollment as well as priority registration, and then additional participation in support programs such as our first year experience program and our extended opportunity program. In order for students to be eligible to participate in the Promise program, they do need to follow a variety of different steps that are listed on this slide here. The first one being that students do need to complete the steps to enrollment that we have. They must also make sure that they apply to their board FAFSA or the CCCD. The next is that they also complete a Compton College Promise application. They also must complete an application to other support programs such as EOPS. They must also enroll at part-time status during their primary terms listed as fall and spring. And they must also maintain a 2.0 GPA as well as complete about 67% of the courses that they attend each semester. So some of the fees and costs associated with being a Promise student are listed on this table here. On average, students that are identified as being in the Promise program save an average of about $828 every academic year. This table breaks down how much students are able to pay after participating in the Promise program. What you see to the left side is the semesters and the terms for one full academic year. In the middle, you're able to see how much students are billed if they were not part of the Promise program, if they are enrolled at that part-time status. And on the right side, you see at the end how much it costs a student to come and be part of the Promise program. For the primary semesters of fall and spring, you see that students are able to pay $31, or it might be about 5 Starbucks runs or 3 boba runs. And in the other terms, they're also able to save, and at the end of the terms, such as winter and summer, they go ahead and just pay $16. So what we want to make sure that we emphasize for students is that they save more by taking more units. So our advisors and everyone in the educational partnerships department is really able to advocate for students to take on more units, and I will later on quickly talk about what it is that we do to make sure that we do that. Okay. So some of the fun data we are going to get into is data for our fall 2023 applicants. What you see on this slide here is our applicant breakdown by district. The 23-24, the 23-24 data listed there shows our breakdown based on our participating districts, such as Glenwood, Paramount, and Compton. As stated, the Promise program did expand to any first-time college student in fall of 2023, which is why you're able to see a spike in numbers that are listed in purple for students that came in from not partner districts. Next slide. So this Slide breaks down our enrollment by eligibility type and it gives you a bird's eye view of the promise applicants that came in. And at that point where they either stayed in their coursework, where they did not enroll in what needed to meet the promise program eligibility, or where at a certain point they might have stopped completing their steps to enrollment and registering for classes to make sure that they maintain their eligibility in the promise program. Slide. So now we are going to go ahead and dive into our fall 2023 success and retention rates. But first, I would like to do that by breaking down the demographics for our fall 2023 applicants. What you see to the left side is a gender breakdown of our promise applicants. To the right side of that, listed in the gray, you see a makeup of 51.79% listed as female. To the left side of that, you see a breakdown of 43.54% listed as male. Those that are listed in green have been identified as 4.68% that either marked unknown or did not leave a response. To the right side of that, you see our race and ethnicity breakdown. Majority of our promise program in the fall 2023 academic year is largely composed of 75% Hispanic or Latino. Overall, the gender demographic for the 21-22 academic year was made up of 65.28% for the overall student population here at Compton College.
I'm sorry. If you guys have a slide on that, we don't have the graphics of the other.
Correct. So this is an updated, so data was provided Friday after the board agenda published. We can get you a copy of this one afterwards.
So overall, the overall population at Compton College was a makeup of 65.28% female and 32.85% male. Whereas in 21-22, the academic year was largely composed of 64.37% Hispanic Latino and 22.42% they're identified as Black or African American. In comparison to the overall student enrollment in Compton College and the progress demographics, we are largely in some participating with the demographics that the overall college represents, as well as the promise applicants as well. Slide. So on this slide, we will go ahead and see where our success and retention rates are for the overall Compton College student population in comparison to our promise program population. Promise students, on average, do have higher retention rates in comparison to all students at Compton College, as you see listed in the grade. However, their success rate is slightly lower than the general population, which is what you see listed in the red. So on this next slide, we will go ahead and talk about the disproportionately impacted ones. So at this stage of the Compton College Promise Program, you select a representative student sample in each of the subgroups in order to be able to conduct a valid disproportionate impact analysis. So as we move forward and as more students participate in the program, we will hopefully be able to combine the cohort and conduct a program-wide analysis where we're able to get much more data to get that. Right. So for 2024, some of our promise outreach efforts that we are working on ensuring is first the implementation of CRA Recruit that will support Compton College's recruiting and admission cycle from the point of connection all the way up until entry and registration as set by the institutional set goals. Some of the methods that we will use in order to ensure that we are meeting those is that in educational partnerships, we are hosting workshops where we're able to talk about Compton College and our Promise program. We then follow up those workshops by making sure that students have an admission application workshop where they leave the workshop knowing that they receive all the information that they need to complete their application. And then lastly, also offering them registration assistance at the end of that cycle. Next slide. Some of the outreach efforts that we continue to move in order to increase enrollment is that we do have multiple contact points with students where we are meeting with students in person, working with students over the phone and virtually in order to encourage full-time course enrollment. Everyone in our department ensures that we contact students, we let them know if they are at part-time status, that there's still classes for them to eventually enroll in. We consistently advocate that students up their coursework so that they know that they are getting essentially more fees covered and that they are able to finish their plans much sooner. The next is that we also offer steps to enrollment completion at our feeder high schools where we're able to offer, again, those workshops that cover basic information of Compton College as well as our promise program, followed by the admission application. We also follow up that workshop by assisting them with counselor appointments where students are able to get ed plans through abbreviated ed plans with our Compton College counselors. And then finally seeing it through fruition by making sure that they have the registrations that they need. We are also able to extend an even bigger time, as I will say, by offering financial aid application assistance, where we are working closely with our financial aid department to see where financial aid coordinators or financial aid staff are able to go offsite and make sure that they also are able to equip students with the knowledge that they need to successfully complete their financial aid or direct application. Alright, so we are also offering structured campus tours, and we began to offer these sometime last semester around August. These structured campus tours are very fun for students. They come on campus, they include presentations from other student services, programs, and other things that they can benefit from while being at Compton College. And we mainly offer these to all of our feeder high schools, but what we've seen that has been most benefited from has been from our configuration in alternative schools. Because those students do have an advantage that they have a graduation date of December 2023, we started offering these structured campus tours to get them to enroll for winter and spring 24. Slide. So some of the next steps that we continue to take to ensure that we grow our promise program is to first develop, strengthen, and sustain our numbers, as well as hoping that we can meet future goals as well. We do this by offering virtual and in-person step to enrollment, both on and off campus. And we also do this by participating in our very fun events on campus, such as Senior Day, which will happen on March 20, 2024, and then Community Day, which will happen on April 20, 2024. And second to last, I will leave you with what our promise QR code looks like for your interest. If you would like to take a deep dive to see what types of questions are offered or what types of data that we gather for our promise program. And then the next slide has my information. As I said, my name is Rainy Zarazi. If you have any questions that I can answer, I can go ahead and do them now. If there's any question that I cannot get to, I can provide you that information at a later time once I have it.
Trustee, do we have any questions? Trustee Carl. Dr. Little?
Yes, thank you for the report. For indicating data, I think besides that we don't have that the current composition is representative of the application. So if you go back to the applications bar chart, it was 200. So basically we're saying like for the city of Compton, Paramount, and I know you said that we're now the 86 reflects they don't have to be representative of those 3 districts. Do we have demographic information about those 4 categories broken down?
We do have demographic gathered on other high schools not listed, where we do a breakdown of the zip codes that we are most coming from, if there's high schools or alternative schools or continuation schools, all that data is broken down from.
So would the continuation alternative schools be represented in the purple?
If they are not part of the Compton, then would Paramount Unified Districts.
So when you say alternative schools, you think what those.
So for example, one of the partner sites that we have, that was not previously something that we reported on was a school within Linwood Unified that is identified as Pathway High School. However, their instruction is on a alternative where students are able to turn in a packet or they're able to gain like a high school accreditation or anything like that. So it's considered alternative because of the method of instruction that they do. So that for that reason, it is that umbrella term of Pathway High School, but because of the instruction and because of the data that we have gathered and the partners that we have been identified as inside of the alternative.
Alternative can encompass different curricular style, different teaching style. Is it also a disciplinary type of alternative?
Yes, I think so. It's like independent study, or it can be like a Thomas site that's located at another high school. It's based on the different levels of instruction there.
And we do outreach to those programs and we're also that to the broad.
Trustee Lopez, trustee Dr. Moore,
Yes, I do, just, clarification. This is, for, um, first, like this is for our students that are graduating from high school, graduating the first time. Not if there would be non-traditional, and 24 plus students. As well.
So in order to clarify for the expansion, because it's a pretty big question that we've been getting from the overall community, is that we identify a first-time college student as a student that has no college credit or no credit on their academic history post-high school graduation. So if a student graduated from high school, let's say year 2000, year 2010, or anything before or after, we identify the coursework that they have taken or the college credits that they have accumulated after that high school graduation date.
How many years is that? How many semesters I would say? What's the time period?
For a first-time college student.
Outside of, like if they graduated and they go nowhere, and then they decide to come back, what is their window again?
So they do not have a window.
So it is, so non-traditional. Dr. Curry, non-traditional. And I'm asking because like my next question, in terms of the demographics, if we could, identify, like if they're older students, and I know when they get in, if they have attendance, I know that that's a different category. And I know that predominantly this would be, our 18, you know, their first time, like you said. So Dr. Curry, could we, that correct, or?
I think the question or the question is asking for recent high school grad versus only for 1 year high school and individuals who are first. If they'll be able to see that exactly. I think that's as you recall, last spring, the board to change the process program to open up to all students for the first time within the district and also outside of the district. And so we can change, we can be able to provide that data as requested, so give us a little time to figure that out.
Yeah, and because if you look at thinking, for the 23-24, and I'm assuming that this would be for like fall semester, right? That's that 227 number. That is, I'm sorry, that's not out of the district. Wrong slide. Slide 11 is the district slide. That jump to like that 86, right? That's the purple for this past semester. Correct. Okay, so that's one thing. If we can get that, if it to cover and identify those students, like Dr. Gray said, outside of that first year or say 3 semesters, if you include like summer or whatever, and then like they decide to like come back to be able to capture that segment of population. That's kind of what I was going. That was my second question, really about like the age to identify, say 18 versus someone that's a little bit older, say 25.
So let me get back to this, because I have a different perspective regardless of how you present data.
Yeah.
I'd rather create a dashboard regardless of comments.
Yeah.
And then you can be able to decide maybe keep the home searches for the last couple of years. So let me work on that with our district effective office. Rather than provide us the data, I'd rather provide a dashboard.
Yeah.
So that people can be able to drill down and research it.
Okay, all right, that'll work. And then on number 11, because number 12, the non-eligible insufficient units, is that maybe like, say maybe like 1 semester they are eligible, and then now maybe second semester you're picking up, is that what that is? Okay, you can talk about that. And then like the other, is that my one that's up at the top? That one, that little bit, is that what that is?
Yes.
Okay, the other, okay.
So for essentially what this gathers is a snapshot of the persistence. So students that came in for fall 2023, if they persisted and if they will be.
All right, thank you. Madam President.
trustee Rollins.
I have a question on slide 5. Second one, 2020.
like why there was such a big change there specifically. Compton. My assumption is since Compton, unified school district is the largest. Why did they have the biggest drop? Among the district? Or because the other two districts, there's a gain, but Compton's up actually.
And I think we should get back to you on that, but I have my own opinion, but I also think I'm gonna look at some data in regards to college for one investment, TV investment, clearinghouse, how many students, where the students actually went. So we get back to you with report that is. Actually, I don't think that's, I think you can provide that data, but with. A lot of students are not, but a lot of students are not going to. And that's what we have noticed within our two districts, is that we have a considerable number of students who are not going anywhere. If you look at the research that they have in the last 3 years, and individuals, the value of higher education has changed, not only within our community, but also nationally. The individuals are not considering higher education. And so that's why I want to be able to get the data, but that's one of the biggest issues. One is that students are not going anywhere, and also students' perception of higher education has changed because of the value of higher education. Some individuals do not see there's a value. But they're looking for trades, they're looking for a job, they're looking for a job. So people that are offering trades and trades, that's where the students are gonna go. So come to college, doing the trades, say the name, but I'm sorry, welding. That welding is a trade, right? So students are all students, adults, seniors that are going to college and are looking to go back to work, they are looking for trade. So they are looking where if they do go to college and they see a trade program that is training them, that will give them a little bit of money and benefits, they are going to leave the college. Until we, I'm not saying we're not getting with the program, but until we get with the program and offer more trades or work with the unions, but they have the unions that are trade unions like the carpenters and the builders and all like that, until we catch on with that link, we gonna keep on losing students because they want money, families want money, they're in dire needs, the bills are not getting paid. So we need to open up our minds and just stop thinking the old way and open up and think the new way. But you don't have to forget the old way, because the old way got us here. But the new way will get us. If I tell you I want a job and I come to your college and I don't like welding, even though welding is a good trade. You don't have nothing, and I don't want cosmetology, and I don't want to know nails, I don't want to spell that stuff. What else you got for me? It's just me. So, did you have a question? Because I'm sorry. Did you get your question answered?
Yes.
Get the answer, but Dr. Curry said he gotta go first, because he gotta know the idea. I've heard it, but she never gave the answer.
The answer was gonna be, I was not here, unfortunately, for that I didn't.
See, there you go, at least that's your answer. Like you, Dr. Curry, I'm just saying.
And my second question, how did the campus tour go?
So I will get back to President Kelton's point. A lot of the structured campus tours really surrounded around what either the counselor, the coordinator, or the site contact really stated wanted to be emphasized during the structured campus tours. So we went ahead and we seek the assistance of Dr. Harrison and other different teams and other types of sites that these students can go into. A lot of the feedback that we got were that students love going into the trade buildings, they love going into Voltec, they love being in the classes that they were being offered, they love even the sports arena, so we didn't envision seeing something that they do at home as a career. So they really were receptive of us really being able to say, we can come here, be part of the Promise program, do a trade, and start working with it. So a lot of that feedback really surrounded on going into those careers.
Can I just, if I can make one other comment? Dr. Curry, with the dashboard that you, and it's just, I'm just thinking with those comments as well. I think it would be, in addition to kind of add, if we can, because we are doing an application, right? To kind of, not just with the demographics for the race and ethnicity, but the age, and I think that is, it's identifying those students that kind of took a gap year, if you will, right? A couple semesters off and came back, but also if we can identify this segment of those students, I think that information will be helpful as well. Because now we can see if they're into, to transfer, if they're doing a certificate, or whatever the pathway is. I think that was helpful.
The only reason I'm not going to ask you a question is because, we have a member here that has to catch the very flight, right? And so the member that has to catch the flight. So I got two good questions for you, but thank you for admitting that you need to go to the trades.
Thank you for trustee and for the experience.
Well, I think I was saying that's 2018, it's 2024. Somebody got to open up their eyes. And it's just, ever since I've been on this board. Would you like to do the next person?
Yes, we have our, upgrade, our leading to learning professional development at Compton College and our Dr. Lamar Hoffman.
Good evening. We're everyone, happy to be here with you again. All right, so this is my annual report, and we'll go ahead and kick it off. For the next few moments, I'll take you to the guide to professional development here at Compton College. So we're going to do an overview of why is PD important to professional development and referred to as PD, right? The PD overview created a culture of diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, and then next steps. Next slide, please. Why is professional development important? Well, first and foremost, professional development creates opportunities for who? For faculty, staff, and for administrators. More importantly, it creates an opportunity for our students to be their best. In order for students to be their best, we have to make sure that the employees here are enriched with professional learning opportunities. Next slide, please. The overview for PD includes, in 2019, we established the PD program by hiring myself in November of 2019. We also utilize data from a professional development needs survey that we administer every spring. So in the next few weeks, we'll be administering it for 2024. We prioritize teaching and learning by providing faculty here with over $200,000 to invest in learning opportunities by way of their own creation. So faculty teaching and learning gives faculty members an opportunity to help create and design their professional learning experience. We also establish a campus-wide engagement through professional learning engagement committees. We have our first and foremost committee, which is known as the Professional Learning Engagement Committee. We have a faculty professional development committee. We have a classified professional learning committee. And then we have our managers that have their own professional development learning committee. Now, with that collection of committees, we also often call our professional development learning calendar. So every academic year, there's a calendar that is pre-scheduled for all employees to engage in ongoing learning opportunities that only take place on Friday. We also provide twice through the academic year at the beginning of every semester, we have a professional development learning day. That is incorporated to make sure that all employees are part of the learning experience that we do every semester. So we're excited because in the next couple of weeks, we have our spring 2024 PD development day. We have ongoing PD training. So not only do we offer our training through this PD calendar, but we have all types of events that take place throughout the course of the semester. We also utilize other things that we'll talk about a little bit later. So really the intention through professional development is to create a supportive learning institution so that it's a culture. It's not just something that we can say we're fulfilling or checking off something on a list, but we're doing this to create a culture of learning. Next slide, please. So the continuum process of PD opportunity, it's broken down into components as you can see. First, we have our PD development webpage. This webpage gives a resource to our employees as well as the public to check out and see what we're doing here at Compton College. We also leverage our partnerships with Achieving the Dream to support professional learning. The faculty teaching and learning
program that we have was really designed with our partnership there with Achieving the Dream. So we're excited about that. And we're actually in the third year of our partnership with Achieving the Dream. So that's been amazing. Next, that PD calendar that I shared with you. This is something that you can access readily on our PD webpage. And so I encourage you to look at that because it's exciting, not just because I'm biased, because I did it, but because it's actually different types of opportunities that employees have to learn. And so our PD is grounded in three things. What I said before is diversity, equity, inclusion, action, accessibility. So that's four. Forgive me, I'm trying to hurry here through this presentation a little bit. But innovative professional learning tools are offered at a 24-hour continuum. That means employees are kind of curious to learn. They can do so from the comfort of their own home. We have something called the Vision Resource Center, and that's something that's offered to all employees free of charge on a 24-hour demand that they can access LinkedIn Learning for free just for working here at Compton College. The webinar training is available any time of day from anywhere. Next slide, please. So what is the framework here for Compton College PD? We have data collection. So the work that I do is informed by data. We have our annual professional development needs survey that I said we administer every spring. And so we use that to identify, understand, and prioritize the needs of our employees. More importantly, we also utilize that shared governance that I mentioned. We have all types of committees for specifically that are incorporated into the process of designing the PD framework at Compton College. We also do a lot of qualitative data here. We have focus groups that take place throughout the course of every semester to make sure that I'm gathering real time data. I like to get to know people and really hone in on what they do at Compton College. And we have workshop surveys as well to have that experience to make sure that they're enjoying those workshops that they participate in. And then finally, PD activities are really, really fun. If you haven't had a chance to come out and see what we do at Compton, I invite you to do so. MLK yesterday, we have an amazing dance crew here. I think there's some dancers here in the room right now that we have on our on our board, right? We have employees that like to get into the learning experience. So things like that really do make a difference. When you think about PD, it's not just about technical learning, but it's about an experience and each employee learning what they can do beyond what they think they do, right? And so next slide. Talking about some of the PD opportunities that we currently have for 2023-24, I listed them for you, and there's certain components that they are connected to. So this was created by way of what I think is important for professional learning. First, being culturally responsive, utilizing technology and data, supporting our students through engagement and offering support services that really are helping them with what they need immediately. And then having that effectiveness of the teaching and learning experience in the classroom, and then personal professional development and growth. This is the thing that I want to make note of. We don't just invest in employees, make sure that they're investing in our students, invest in the betterment as well, because in order for us to be better for our students, we have to be better for ourselves. Next slide, please. Some fast facts. So if you haven't got the theme of this, I like a lot of colors, so I just picked some in there for us there. But when it comes to PD learning experiences that take place most of the Fridays, it's really filled with a lot of classified professionals. So I want to highlight that. So 60% of our workshops really are attended well by our classified professionals, and then faculty managers make up that difference respectively. The most popular PD opportunities that we offer, guess what? Is the DEIA that I mentioned. Everyone wants to know how to become better at being culturally inclusive here at Compton College. And so I think that speaks to the culture that we are cultivating at Compton. Next, what did I just talk about? Self-care. We need to really focus on that because we all experienced strategy over the past several years with women. I want to also highlight that we have 45, or this is 45, but at least 45 times in an employee's life here at Compton College, they can learn something. And so I think that's remarkable, and I want to highlight that. And then when I talk about learning, again, we have the Vision Resource Center. We have conferences that we send employees to. They can actually volunteer to go. We encourage them to go. We have workshops that happen by way of Zoom. So all these little things we're doing to make sure that there's different types of ways that people wherever they are. Next slide, please. Again, culture is very, very important. So creating a culture that incorporates diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility is not just something that we're doing at Compton, but we're doing this statewide. And so in order to be a leader in professional development, we do this thing on a daily. So our equity framework that was developed for professional development, you'll see there in the center, it's based around students because that's why we're here. So student success. And then from that, we have inclusive practices where we create opportunities to grow. We have collaboration, so we foster a learning culture. We have engagement. I'm telling you, dancing was happening yesterday. Who knows what's going to happen in Compton? Okay, I had music, so we always made things fun. President Campbell, you know, I like. Okay. And then lastly, we have an equity lens. So being culturally responsive means that we're humanizing the connection. So students are not numbers, students are people. Employees are not numbers, employees are people. So professional development is for the people. Next slide, please. Bringing us to the baseline data. So I spoke about the survey that we do on an annual basis and how we use that to inform the professional experience. Well, to create that calendar that I mentioned to you, we have PD strands. And so we want to make sure that we help employees develop skills with technology because that's first and foremost. We also want to make sure that we're taking care of their health and their wellness. We also want to make sure that we enhance the working environment because how we feel at work impacts people who come to this workplace. And then we develop leadership skills. There are people like myself who come here entry level and looking down. So at Compton College, we make sure that we're developing you for your success as well as the success of our students. And for the slide, I do want to acknowledge that 66% of our employees, when it came to enhancing their work environment, they wanted to learn things like other languages. I thought that was very interesting. That stood out to me. I haven't offered that, but that's something that I think that speaks to the desires of our employees wanting to know more to help the students. Also, another thing, managing stress. Who hasn't been stressed out in the past couple of weeks? I think that it's important that we do this work and we do this intentionally for our employees here at Compton College. Next slide, please. Another thing about diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, every professional development workshop that I offer, I make sure that it aligns with that work. And so what you see before you for fall of 23, I'm excited because I noticed that there's a theme here. So if we're not learning about being culturally responsive in our classrooms, we're always including equity. If we're not talking about equity, we're talking about accessibility and technology. So you'll see that we're weaving this into what we're doing. This is not a one-time thing, this is a lifetime thing. For that to happen, it has to be continued. Next slide, please. PD highlights, this is my favorite part as we come to the close here. For 23-24, again, our faculty have opportunities to do what we call our faculty teaching and learning projects. They have communities of practice. That's where they come together in small groups and they work on different professional development goals. And then we have conferences. Over and over again, Dr. Curry has given us the opportunity to offer this to all employees to go to things like Achieving the Dream. That was in Chicago. We have the Amen Conference. We have a PAGI. We have Colegas. We have some types of conferences that employees are able to participate in. Another thing is we have something called Classified Development Week. Now, when I started, this started out as a meeting, but now it's an entire week. And this week is not just me creating things for employees, but committees are part of the planning process. So when we have these committees, the PD committees are always on board and we're always working with. I want to highlight that, especially for our classified professionals and employee wellness. That is paramount. And so we have ongoing employee wellness. If we're doing meditation, if we're doing yoga, if we're dancing, these things help people feel better. Next, we have this amazing program, the Leadership Academy for Classified Professionals. This happens every summer. And so this is something that gives the team here, our team of classified professionals, an opportunity to learn from top leaders across the nation, not just here in the California Community College system, but across the nation. That speaks to the support that we have in developing employees here on campus. Next, we also have, back to that one. Sorry. We have our annual management retreat. This is something that gives the administrators, the managers, the supervisors an opportunity to come together. They're working a lot, right? So why not give them the opportunity to retreat together and talk about ways to enhance their leadership? Also, the professional development days that we have every semester, we always get amazing speakers. And our last speaker, Dr. Garcia, she spoke to being a HSI, so a Hispanic Serving Institution. And that started the conversation for the 23-24 year, where we're going to continue to have conversations on how to strengthen our college as an HSI and provide development for our faculty and classified professionals. And then last but not least, this really makes me excited because I was able to collaborate with the director of Black Males in Color Initiative. And it gave me an opportunity to develop some of our students with leadership training. This is the first of its kind. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of a professional development program at a community college working with students, but I do this work. And I do it because it gives me an opportunity to work with our student trustees, to work with ASG, and just get to know students across our campus. Next slide, please. And so again, I like colors, but I like pictures. And so I want you to see that when I talk about data, I'm talking about people. So you may not see numbers on this screen because to me, it's not the numbers, it's the people and the lives that we impact. And so the PD highlight that I want to leave you with is one of our students. So what you see before you is this level of leadership academy. It's the first of its kind here at Compton College. And I'm proud to say that I partnered with people like Maria Roberts, who gave a professional development and training to our students. We also had Ms. Jasmine Phillips and myself give different classes to our students. And I'm proud to say that we offered some for the men, some for the women. I might be biased, but ours is there. Right? All right, but I just want to speak to the work that's being done at Compton. So yes, my job here is to make sure that employees are professionally developing, but I don't care what your role is. If I can touch your life and impact you, Dr. Curry gives me the ability to do that. All right, so with that being said, next slide, please. Next steps. We're going to have our very first Black African American Student Success Summit in person. This is another partnership that I'm doing with Dr. Antonio Banks, and we're planning that now. Next, we're also going to have one of our faculty teaching and learning projects. We're going to do trauma-informed practices, a workshop not just for faculty, we're going to also offer that to classified professionals and to the administrators. That speaks big to the collaboration that's being done with professional development to bring the collection together across campus. Next, we'll also have data chats. And that's going to be offered through institutional executives, and so I'm excited about that. And then lastly, we have ongoing customer service training here at Compton College, so I want to reiterate that. So when we have new people that are onboarded here or even existing employees, they're also with orientation. So orienting them to make sure that they're serving our students. So you see customer service, students are our customers, and we need to serve them with excellence. And so I just want to the board to let you know that Compton is on the move, okay? We're elevating professional learning and growth, not just our employees, but and I'm so honored to be a part of Compton College. Next slide. And with that, do you have any questions?
Trustee comments?
Let's have one question. I know you have to go. So with the workshop for the actual staff, is it a requirement or is basically this is what something that we suggest?
So that's a great question. It's not mandatory for them to participate in the workshops that are offered on Friday. So we do have one mandatory professional development day per semester where everyone has to participate in that 6-hour professional development experience.
Dr. Little?
Thank you so much for the meeting with me. Some of my groups of some of these shops I come. Yes, thank you for that. I'm working with perfectionists to create.
Trustee Lopez? Trustee Bell?
Yes, thank you, Pilar.
The committees again, is that like what is on slide 9?
Yeah, so the
Okay.
committee-
So are those the 4?
Yes.
Okay, good, all right, because I know you,
Oh, yeah.
okay, thank you, you're welcome, that's all I have.
Thank you for your presentation.
Just one thing. What was that you just received? 1, 2, 3, what was those degrees?
Oh,
They don't,
okay, so I just wanted to I do my introduction, so, I stand before you as an adult learner, I got my first degree at age of 35. I'm the first college graduate in my family, and I started with just wanting to get a bachelor's degree, but I have a bachelor's student active and just my doctorate education, so I'm standing here as an example of what I believe our students are capable of becoming, and so the work that I do is really grounded in the experience that I've had, and I can inspire others to do.
And now, we're gonna go back on the agenda to report on the ESG report, Crystal Moore.
Good evening, board. How is everyone doing today? ASG, I would like to say has had a very eventful, fall semester. We've been engaging students, student advocacy, there were a number of student-based events. We at ASG have been involved in different conferences, and student development, just as Barr has noted in her previous presentation. Some of the things that we have been working on, we started with Welcome Week, that was in August. We had Latin Heritage Month, where we had different sessions, students can step in. We had a Latin culture tasting, different events to go with that. We had our importance of the brown folk. So putting emphasis on the importance of Hispanic and their voting and their voting rights. We also have had our breast cancer awareness sit down where we've had different speakers come and sit with students and talk about the importance of breast care awareness and how we can treat different patients and what are some of the things that we can do to push the breast care awareness initiative. We had a trunk or treat for the children in the community, where children can come and have a safe environment. All the candy was pre-checked and everything was safe. We provided meals for the community, and it was just a awesome community event. We had our student forum with Dr. Curry, where we brought the complaints of the students to Dr. Curry himself, so he can provide answers and help for everything that was brought to him. We had a numerous amount of conferences. So we had the California Community College Student Affairs Association Conference. That was in Sacramento. San Francisco. We also had the Student Senate for California Community College Student Advocacy. That was a great event for us with the side. We were able to find more ways to advocate for our students, as well as some of us on the board are preparing resolutions to take to the legislation so we can provide more advocacy for our students. Also, we have had the NANDI conference and the Donnelly Women's Health Conference. Looking forward into the next semester, our goals are to provide culturally diverse events that are coming up, such as Black History Month, Asian and Pacific Islander month. We're going to have events for that. Caesar Chavez Day. We also are working on commencement that is coming up as well, and gathering the budget for the oncoming days for the next fiscal year and elections. That is my report. If you guys have questions for me, let me know. I'm willing to answer any questions. So we have a numerous amount of clubs, actually one, that is started by, trustee Carnes, but I'll heard you. Inform you guys on that. We have, initiated a book club, the LGBT club, we have, an honors club. We have a cheer and dancing club, to promote, spirit here on Compton. And a STEM club, we have a, anime club, and these are just some of the clubs that we have started, in the past fall semester. And when we have one week, so we will be having one week of the semester. We will be showing off all of the providing different resources as well to the students. And after that, we will have a back to school celebration.
Thank you for.
Thank you guys and have a great day. Thank you.
Okay, now moving on to item 12, the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
Second.
It's been moved by Dr. Little and seconded by trustee Dopplemore. Are there any items to be discussed? Trustee Clark, Dr. Little,
12-17. 12-15 and 12-17.
trustee Lopez,
No items.
trustee Dopplemore,
No items.
trustee Calhoun. Okay, so moving on to item 12-15, Dr. Little.
I just have one question about the itemization of supplies. Is there how that just determining what is still useful and it says that the remaining will be removed disposed of the contractor. Will that be also understanding the representative for the county about the removal of the property from the art? And they will, whatever considered surplus, it says that the contractor will be responsible for removing that. Are we gonna itemize that to ensure that everything we want, nothing is surplus, and that whoever gets rid of it, we know where it's going?
Yeah, we were going to take a quick look at them. You know, so
Okay, but would we, the surplus is only going to be removed by the contractor. It's not gonna be like an open space where anyone wants something in the contract. I just want to make sure that was my for that.
12-17, Dr. Little.
Yeah, so regarding the request for the faculty's about leave, I was wondering with the deliverables, like some curricular responses, welcome to or over branch of AI or things like that. And I'm just wondering, is this something that's going to be optional, future curricula for faculty like a PE? Or is it something that the faculty is going to learn about as a potential offering for the college or something like that?
So I can defer to Dr. Martinez, to start the department committee, regards to this proposal, but included in the proposal includes the information of what the individual will be bringing back, including the workshop topics for other faculty. So it's included on the attachment, I want to say, on page 3, beginning on page 4 of the attachment, shows some of the workshops that they provided for faculty, once the individual.
Right, I looked at those, and that's what I'm asking. Are they for faculty just information, or is it for the development of the curricula that we are making a decision around
For example, if it's a writing course, whether or not ChatGPT is gonna be allowed. Where many institutions are, grappling with this right now, so I'm just trying to see, is this just informative to them? They're interested, or is it for a strategy?
I think it's a part of the strategy for the college. But the key is that they have someone to take the lead and learn this information and bring it back. Committee supported the recommendation from the faculty with regards to their proposal for the sabbatical. And so we can go back to the faculty and ask them some questions in regards to the committee, in regards to the requirement, because it's part of their professional obligation resume. The PD or tomorrow, that person individually have an opportunity to take this class as a part of their.
Right, and I'm in total support of it. The reason I'm asking is because that one person may not be enough. Or are we gonna have other faculty strategies for new innovations that, can go out and inspire the information?
So just to be on that list, we have a committee of faculty, chaired by Dr. Mohammed and also Amari Williams regarding to AI. We've been in conversations with the professional district, the LA County regarding to some partnerships around AI. We actually have a committee that's been working on this, and we can provide an update of the work that they're doing, I think. But the key is for the committee to work to be able to develop strategy, but then also incorporate some of the information provided from this faculty member as relates to their sabbatical as a part of the strategy.
Thank you. That's it.
Without any further discussion, can we have for the
Yes.
moving on to item 13, action items, 13.01, administrative services, 2022. Compton College District Financial Audit Report, and I have a motion to. It's been moved by Dr. Little and seconded by Trustee Lopez. Do we have any discussion, Trustee Carnes?
No discussion.
Dr. Little?
No discussion.
Trustee Lopez?
No discussion.
Trustee Dopplemore?
No discussion.
And that's it. I have the 13. Moving on to item 13.02, administrative services, Compton CC resolution number 1-16-2024 A budget transfers and augmentation for fiscal year 2024. Do I have a motion for approval? It's been moved by Dr. Paul and seconded by Trustee Dopplemore. Is there any discussion, Trustee Carnes? Dr.
No
Little?
discussion.
Trustee Lopez?
No discussion.
Trustee Dopplemore?
No discussion.
Trustee Tubman? No discussion from, can I have?
That's unanimous, yes.
Moving on to items 13, administrative services contracts. 14,500 amendment ratification for the higher education. Do I have a motion? It's been moved by Trustee Dopplemore and seconded by Dr. Little. Is there any discussion? Trustee Carnes?
No discussion.
Dr. Little?
No discussion.
Trustee Lopez?
No discussion.
Trustee Dopplemore?
Yes, I do. Just to ask, just for, this is on, these are just like on books, correct?
These are books for you. So they're not in book outside for you.
The retail as well?
Okay. That's all, that was my only question.
Trustee Calvin. Can I have a vote?
Okay, unanimous, yes.
Moving on to item 14, discussion and action. Dr. Curry.
So I wanted to bring forward, last month we talked about the advocacy, and we have a meeting scheduled in Sacramento, Oregon's meeting scheduled for December, February, including your package, the meeting chart, also includes the advocacy handbook, and also includes the legislative talking points for the year. And so in our meetings, we will be talking with our officials regards to our legislative talking our priorities. And our priorities are, to me, is very simple, right? Because of this funds, even though it's a bad year, be able to provide equitable access for our students, regarding books and materials. Continue to support retention and enrollment funds to cover community college versus one-time funds currently included in 2023 budget. I truly believe, and we're working with this, is that retention and enrollment, that those dollars should be ongoing as community colleges throughout the country are trying to increase enrollment, but continue to utilize those dollars. Continue to support the California for All college sports program. Continue to support the housing grant program, as you are very familiar with in the state budget for this year. For 24-25, does not include funding for the housing grant program. This does not impact Compton College, but does impact community college. Continue to support programs and initiatives that support student transfer. Continue to support workforce development programs that express as related to allied health and the partnership that we have with allied health, and also submit the funding request for $50 million for a permanent health care facility on our campus that has 24-hour care. This afternoon, we sent a letter on to our officials who again the advocacy for that. Continue to support college affordability in regards to Cal grant reform. That was not included in the governor's budget, but you know, our students have needs, special education, and we're looking at how you cover the total cost of attendance. Continue to support funding for student equity achievement and basic centers. As you look at the state budget and where we're at, it's important that we continue to address our student basic needs. And for us, we're going to continue to be able to provide and replenish that for our public market, which is like $2 for students every week. And also continue to support EBT access on the college campuses. And then also the one of the issues that we have in there is diverse and underrepresented students. Continue to support for us, support the funding for our plan, which will be coming to the board in March for final approval, in February for first read. And final piece is continue to request additional support from the state as they still our pension and also structural costs. We know that the state is looking at a deficit. The legislative analyst office says the deficit to be up to $68 billion for 2023-24 and 24-25. The government projects is about $37.1 billion. The legislative analyst office also projects over the 5-year deficit about $105 billion. So we're trying to understand the state fiscal and fiscal status, and so we continue to have this conversation. But we do know that pension costs and construction costs continue. These are our legislative talking points. We have our meeting schedule. We'll be talking to the board of trustees in Sacramento in regards to our meetings and participating in each of those meetings. But if you have any questions, let me know. And including your folders is the handbook, also the legislative talking points, and then also a copy of the meeting schedule as of today. Thank you. The next item that we have on the agenda is a full-time equivalent student update. Dr. Sherry Berger is out ill today and not able to attend the quarterly. So I will have Dr. Amidala Sanapeji to be able to provide Compton College full-time equivalent students update. And you might ask Dr. Nicole Jones to provide.
Thank you, Dr. Corey. I just want to provide an update on the FTES and the enrollment numbers for the college for the winter and spring semester. So our FTES
for the 2023-2024 year, still is 3,750. Funding is still based on FTEs of 5,980. And the numbers I'll be providing will be related to our numbers in 2023 and 2022. So for the winter,
Next one. This one?
so for the winter 2024, the headcount for winter 2024 is 1,593. This is actually 15% higher than our numbers in 2023 and 35% higher than what we had in 2022. The seat field is 2,097, 17% higher than our numbers in 2020 and 38% higher than our numbers in 2022. The FTEs now for the winter is at a total of 236, 14% higher than what we had last year, and 34% what we had in 2022. While for the spring semester, our unduplicated headcount is at 3,435. That is 26% more than our numbers in 2020 and 22% higher than numbers in 2022. The seat field is at 7,224, 33% more than what we had in 2020. 3 and 51% more than what we had in 2022. While the FTEs is at 1,039, 33% more than what we had in 2022 and 47% more than what we had in 2023. So overall, our numbers have improved compared to 2022 and 2023. We've been doing better and better in all areas, on all metrics that we are looking at, in FTEs, duplicated headcount, and also the seats filled. So also mentioned that we continue to offer our classes in all modalities, in-person, synchronous, remote, hybrid, and also the asynchronous. For the in-person, which includes our numbers at the high school, we had a total number of 35 sections, which represent 35% of our offerings. Synchronous remote, 5 sections, which is 5% of our offerings, and then asynchronous, 60 sections, which represent 60% of our offerings. The fill rate for the in-person stands at 51%. For the synchronous remote is at 52%, while for the asynchronous is at 80%. We will notice that we've had to add a number of additional sections to the asynchronous modality, which is about 60% of our offerings, and which gives us 80% fill rate, which means asynchronous offerings are actually doing much better than all the other modalities that we offer as students. For the spring 2024 also, the in-person sections add up to 383, with 73 of these being at the high schools. This in-person number represents 67.5% of the total of our offerings, a fill rate of 35. Synchronous remote, 30 sections, CRN count of 30, 5% of our offerings, and 33% fill rate. Hybrid, 8 sections, 9.4 average class size, and also 28% fill rate. Asynchronous, on the other hand, 147 sections, which represent 26% of our offerings, but a fill rate of 66. Do the same thing in spring, and we are still continuing spring. The asynchronous classes seems to be the way to go. It's giving us a higher rates than the other modalities that we have. I should also mention that we continue to have or to do outreach, continue to market all our classes, we continue to provide information for the community. In November 2023, in November 2023, some mailers were sent out to the whole community, flyers, brochures, to educate or to inform the community that we are still here and we have classes open for students to come and enroll. By the end of January, we'll be sending out a classes available reminder to the community to invite students to come in and continue to register for the spring semester. And lastly, our Office of Educational Partnership continues to conduct outreach to the high schools. Just in the last year, a total of 35 activities were conducted with about 267 participants interacting with our Office of Educational Partnership. Also, the call center continues to reach out to students for different reasons, to invite them or to remind them to come back to the campus to enroll and to continue taking classes. By December 2023, we had over 2,000 phone calls and over 1,800 emails sent to residents of the community. And then also, a total of 156 students were interacted with, were helped one way or the other by the Welcome Center to help them get enrolled and to continue to take classes on our campus. That would be some of the information regarding that.
Questions?
Just like the question, I know we have of the different have a feel rate, but we haven't passed it. And
So, Dr. Little, we provided, I think it was last month, more, provide the dashboard that you can be able to disaggregate that data.
and as it relates to the AC, the popularity of it, wondering how our student services are being accessed.
Accessing the services that we provide for them students. Yes, I believe so, and Dr. Jimenez has been monitoring interactions and responses from students taking online classes. And we have a number of activities also to support it. For example, the Library Student Services Center has online support services. We have Edready, we have Next Tutor to make sure that students get the necessary help that they need. And they can always come on campus if they are able to utilize all of these resources that we provide. So, and the next project where we will provide reports to the board regarding some online resources. The next item is the Compton College Retention Plan, which was approved by the active staff last fall. I just want to make sure to share with the board of trustees, aware of what we're doing as far as I've asked Vice President Nicole Jones to provide the overview of the plans, the board of trustees.
So, our Compton College Retention Plan was really born out of work that we did at Law Improvements to do with for the enrollment management consultant. So we spent a lot of time working with the consultant, discovered that we could do a better job retaining our students and helping them persist. And so what we did was we got together collectively as a committee and we started working on this
Compton College, retention and persistence plan. Definition of retention being in-course retention, specific to students who are in a particular given term in a course, that course. And then persistence, we define from persisting from one term to another, for example, fall to fall or fall to spring. We tie it also to our institutional set goals, which is very typical for us with our planning. And then we also combed through all of our associated institutional plans like enrollment management, adult strategic enrollment management plan, the Black and Middle Color Success Program, initiative, student equity plan, and our Tri-City Adult Consortium and plan. All of these plans that had previously been examined and approved, we incorporated activities from those plans into this retention and persistence plan. There was a lot of work that we discovered was already ongoing, but we needed to more effectively monitor the function of some of these activities. So we could build greater persistence and retention for our students. We have here our plan related goals, and you can see how those goals have been tied from those specific plans like adult SIM, student equity, and how they've been measured across the certain specific years. And as we go down further, because our Black and Middle Color Success Program is a newer plan, we are still in the process of we also realized in this process that we are going to have cycle specific for in-course retention. We outlined in this chart our current retention activities, and we prioritize those 1 through 4 for 23-24. We utilize our enrollment management as the structure to monitor this timeline of the implementation of these activities, and we have outlined what the activities are, what department is responsible, who are the leads, and what the status of the work is. We did that for retention, and if you scroll down, you would see that we follow the same process for our persistence activities for 23-24. We identified and as a group prioritize them, and we'll continue to have a discussion about it for this work through our enrollment management every month. And that is the summary.
Questions from trustees?
I do just have in terms of, I saw that you guys are doing surveys and such a progress. You all been relying with like key areas or causes. And like for students, okay, within the class, is it like access to resources? Yeah, that 30 people.
Yeah, so we actually also reasons why, but we have been doing this we have been doing this survey on why students withdraw, and we've done that multiple times. And it's a particular point in the semester, I believe in the fall, towards the end of the fall semester, we got that discussion about what that is and why they're withdrawing.
I was just wondering, maybe a future discussion about qualitative ways to get to just some of that all the various clubs and organizations for a holistic approach where maybe early indicators, I'm part of this club, and it's like I'm having difficulty because they're still remaining and maintaining the person's confidentiality. Maybe it's a collective, because you may not capture certain things as a counselor that a club may see, right? So just a
Dr. Jones.
no pressure.
Moving on to item 15, grant items 15.01. Administrative Services Grants for Application, College Futures Foundation Grant 21-06958. Is there, do I hear a motion to approve?
Motion approved.
Second. It's been moved by trustee Doppelman and seconded by trustee Lopez. Dr. Curry.
I just wanted to know that this is our third grant in the College Foundation. So in total, we're getting close to $800,000 of support from College Teacher Foundation. And this is support that we're going to make to do the running. And it happened based off a conversation we had at the conference, at the Do the Running Conference in Bakersfield, in regards to some of our best practices. This really focusing on the registration process for students and looking at doingtheroad.com. The support has improved for us to work with doingtheroad.com as one of the systems for us in relation to registering students. So I'm really excited to take staff in the mission of records to support this work. And so I'm really excited about the work with the College Teacher Foundation, but we have received over $800,000 in funding for them over the past 5 years. And thank you, Dr. Caesar, for your work to be great.
We have any discussion from trustees, trustee Connor, Dr. Wood,
Discussion.
trustee Lopez,
No discussion.
trustee Dopplemore,
No, discussion.
trustee Putnam. We have any?
Yes.
Moving on to item 16, board policies and administrative regulations. Dr. Curry.
Yeah, so this month we have updates of where we're at regarding the schedule. We have updated board policy related to police department, property insurance and return, administrative regulation, education, administrative regulation, also business, financial aid, budget preparation, and also the budget calendar, and also the police department. So these are the administrative regulations that are associated with the policies for the district. I feel really good about where we're at regards to policy this year. As noted prior, we have been doing a lot of good work in regards to updating our policy, but we're tracking them. You have a tracking system, which is a part of 16.01. A lot of work is being done by the area ex-presidents overseeing it, but also Sylvia, Veracak, and also Elizabeth, who works with the in the academic affairs assistants as well. We also make sure that the updated board policies are included in board docs. And now in my presidency message, we're going to start including after board meetings, links to the board policies. So staff, now when they see the board agenda, we're also going to be more intentional to make sure they look at the policy through the presidency message. And the first update will be this Thursday.
Do we have any questions from trustee? Moving on to item 17, information items. Dr. Curry.
Just a couple to highlight. One is we have an update on all of the Commerce State that was included in the packet. We also have an update on 17.10 regards to AB 705 and AB 1705. One of the things that we've been working on the Sherry Burger and the back faculty in regards to languages for some of our higher level for our math courses. That's what these changes we have this spring in regards to the curriculum changes in relation to that. But I feel good about where we're at in regards to what we're not offering. And we're only offering transferable units and also that at Compton College. And so we're in compliance with 1705 and 705 reports there. You also have an update which is part of the board bill 17.2 regards to the California Competes Workforce and Adult Education Number. So that's part of the board goals. And that information is pushed back to 17.12. 17.13 is a new item which you will receive every single month. Is an update on our budget development process. And this goes associated with our administrative regulation and linked to the budget calendar. What I want to do is be able to provide the board with more information about what's happening with the budget. So next month you'll get our timeline. You have the calendar. You have information from the governor in regards to the budget. But now we want to add in the budget timeline that gives you the details of what's happening at this budget development. That goes all the way through September of 2024. And so I feel really good about providing this information to the board. So more information from the board as we develop what a budget for the next fiscal year. Also, do want to highlight item number 17.20, 17.21, which is the performance document in regards to our OPEB or other post-employment benefits, irrevocable trust, and also our picture stabilization trust. Just so you can see if you can open that document for me. This gives you information about our performance regarding our portfolio but it also connects to our unfitting liability. So if you look at our audit report, they include information about our liability in regards to other post-employee benefits. And we're getting closer to having a fully funded trust for our other post-employee benefit liability. We were funded a couple years ago, things saw what happened in the stock market. But we're getting close again to being fully funded. So you can see that the digital deposit $11.3 billion, and right now our portfolio is at $13.9 million. Also to the pension, we have deposited $3.8 million, and we have $4.7 million. One of the things that we're working on through our task force, there's a report on the task force and work groups, including in the report packet, is really start looking at how we're going to start, when are we going to start utilizing those funds. So now as you look at the state budget and the crisis the state is in financially, now we're working is looking at a creative spending plan, but we're going to start utilizing the trust fund for the pension to offset in our budget the increase in pension costs.
Trustee
So we have $4.7 million in our trust fund for our pension liability. When pension costs were increasing, we set up a trust fund where we maybe set dollars aside. Now our trust fund has $4.7 million. In our budget process, and what we have the work group work on is looking at our spending plan of when we start utilizing those dollars, which will offset expenditures within our general fund. So we have planned for the future and planned for these additional costs, and now we want to start utilizing these funds in our budget. No, it's for the increased cost in pension.
Okay,
So
that's what makes.
it's for the increased cost in pension. That's it. And this report is as of December 31st of 2020. Also, too, I want to note item 17.22, as the auditor, as Ben mentioned in his presentation. So every month we provide updates to the Board of Trustees regards to audit findings and the recommendations of what we're doing to improve. This will be the last report for the 2022, for this fiscal year, because our audit for 2021, 2022, those items are identified as recommendations have been implemented, as Ben mentioned. So we will no longer provide this item because there were no audit findings for this year, and there's nothing to report in regards to prior year. And that concludes the information section. Rest of the board trustees have.
Trustees, do we have any questions? To the next item, please. Future agenda items, Dr. Curry.
Is there any agenda items from the board of trustees for item 78.01 that are not already mentioned?
Trustee Khan.
I wanted an update for the contract that you guys have for CRs TV, I believe it's the help is. I want to know the percentage of students who have been helped, and I want to know like the process of, to make sure the students are. And then I also want an update for this program, like what activities are they have ongoing.
Dr. Wood. Trustee Lopez. Trustee Doppelman.
No future deadlines.
Trustee Dr. Curry. And
So next month you'll be getting a presentation on financial aid. You also will be getting a update on the bond financial performance audit. And you also will be getting an update on the budget. Tomorrow I'll be attending the budget workshop in Sacramento where Lawrence, Dr. Hoffman was catching a flight to. And then also you get an update on our room management. And that includes the information section.
moving on to item 19, oral reports, Dr. Curry.
So I just have a couple items. First, I want to say thank you to board of trustee members and also to the faculty and staff who classified professors and management who participated in the second annual Martin Luther King breakfast and celebration. That was a really nice event. I do want to say thank you publicly to all the individuals that were involved in the planning for that event. Also, I want to report that the spring 2024 professional development day for faculty and also faculty professionals and managers will be held on February 8th, 2024. And this in the springtime is dedicated on calendar. They'll be offered through Zoom. And the final thing that I really want to mention is that there's a request that I have is that we are able to adjourn the meeting in honor of Mr. Ruben James Mother. Can you repeat her name for me?
Benita and James.
Benita and James, who passed away in November, and the funeral was held in January. The request was forward to post.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Trustee Carnes?
Oh my God. Let's do that today. I do want to speak about the actual club that I will be starting. It's called the Performing Arts Production Club. So what I always ask Dr. Curry, and I do speak about it, is about we need more production at Compton College. I know that we're short staffed, so we're not able to provide every access. So with this club, it will have the camera crew, we will want the lighting, the backdrop techniques. Many of the students want to have podcasts, interviews, media production. So we're just basically, will be specialized in making entertainment at Compton College, I feel that we need. So we do have an advisor, Albert Phillips, as of now. We already have our constitution, everything in general. We're just waiting for the confirmation. I know that I will be going to Sacramento too as well to speak to elected officials. This will be my second time speaking to them, so I feel that I'm alone there for now. But along with that, I'll be talking about the basic needs. So I'm excited about that too as well. The market meeting event, I did think it went really well. I like that it was very structured and it was right on time, and then as soon as we started, it was over, and I was like, okay. We right on time this time. So hopefully I'll be invited next year because this semester will be my last semester here. So guys, if you guys will invite me back to your market weekend event, I will appreciate it. That was awesome.
Dr. Little?
I just want to thank everyone. First of all, happy New Year, and just thank everyone, Dr. Curry, administration, faculty, staff, for yesterday's breakfast. It was definitely a good way to initiate Dr. King's birthday. There were a lot of activities today. So happy I can portion for your time. Looking forward to the effective trusteeship for chair conference that we have in Sacramento. I will be participating on a panel, part of the plenary actually, talking about diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, especially in the current climate, around the importance of everything that Compton College does to ensure access and equity for all students beyond the talk, but actually walking the walk, the collective walk, whether it's our student basic needs, a lot of what was talked about in terms of professional development to ensure an inclusive academic environment. Really being thoughtful about the humanity of what we're doing. I'm so very happy to just share all of the great work that's being done in the institution. Really looking forward to this semester, and thankfully for the increase in numbers. I can personally say that I've had several family members, even over the holiday break, talking about who was going to enroll, why didn't one tell them that they were enrolling, from all age groups, from young people all the way to seniors. So just want to thank everyone for all the hard work.
Trustee Lopez? Trustee Dodd?
Yes. I would just like to remind our students and everyone, our community, that it is cash for college time. And we will have our financial aid event on what day? January 27th, be there at B Square. Be there at B Square. Just kidding. So yes, I will also be attending the conference in Sacramento. And of course, you know, I will be there walking those halls, advocating for our students for financial aid reform. I'm trying to bring awareness to our community college students, not just here at Compton College, but across all of our campuses, because there is an increased emphasis that is being put on the community college. So there should be more funding to go along with that. We're being asked to do more. So we should look at increasing the amount that community colleges actually receive for students. So that's something I will be advocating for. And that is, oh, and I did have fun at the Martin Luther King Day event. I enjoyed my cold breakfast because yes, I did. We had to I did enjoy I did enjoy because we were socializing. We were socializing. No, but it was good. I really had a good time. And thank you for bringing the line dancing on. Pick up a few moves. Oh, I didn't bring that up. So don't associate that with you. But anyway, I had a good time at the event. That's all I have.
I had a great time at the King Day breakfast. And I love the line dancing. And my food was hot. Because I didn't have nobody bother me while I was eating those potatoes and that sausage and that bacon and drinking my tea. So I socialized after I finished eating because I wanted those good old potatoes. Breakfast was good. The entertainment was good and line dancing. I got up there and line dance. I don't know if y'all know, but I love to dance. So I had a great time. It was good seeing everybody there. It was just a great event, a real great event. In the end, we sing, I'm sorry, I lost the train of thought. Lift every voice and sing. And that event was very good. I'm looking forward to that continuing to be happening. Oh, I had a lot of fun with Dr. Nasser and his beautiful wife. She got up there, she was doing the line dancing also. So she had a great time also, and it was just so good to see her. Me and her clicked the first time I met her. We clicked, so we're like soul sisters. And I just love your wife. And to all the board members, there is a travel policy, and we approve it. I do not know how many board members have actually read this policy. I suggest you read the policy. Because there are some things that have been changed. And that is the time that you want to go, you have so many days to notify you want to go. And look like if you miss that deadline, there might be some issues. So when you receive an email about the conferences, just say you want to go, and then look at your schedule. And then you can change your mind. But don't wait too late. You might not be able to go. So I would suggest all board members, everybody, not just board members, but it's a new policy. It affects a lot of individuals. Staff, faculty, all y'all. Read the board policies. Okay, and had a great time. And Dr. Kirby, unions and trade. I'm not giving up on this. I've been talking about it since 2018. I went to visit the carpenters They're located in Carson County. It's Wilmington to, I don't think the name of the street anyway, it's right on the corner where that church is, Love and Unity. You make a right, you go down so far, you make a right, they got a big carpenters have, and they are taking students that are taking welding, that get all their certificates. They go over there to the carpenters union and they get a job. They're all certified. They are working. I'm gonna keep harping on trades. I'm gonna keep on requesting that you meet with some of the names I requested you to meet with. And I'm gonna keep on requesting until I get my turn to do in the face. I'm gonna keep it up. And one day you're gonna tell me, Trustee Calhoun, I'm meeting with them. I'll be meeting with them on this day. Because we need to have the trades at this college. Or some type of connection with them. Or an MOU with them. Whatever it is. We do need that. And I could say a lot of other things. I'm tired. And I'm just gonna tell you the truth about it. But we still got closed session. So that's possible. Oh, wait a minute. I don't know. And he don't do it.
That concludes most of the open session material. We're just gonna recess closed session, but that concludes. Yes. Okay, we're returning from closed session. We call this meeting to order at 8:57. We have nothing to report, no actions were taken. Now we're moving on to item 20, the next regularly scheduled board meeting, which is February 20th, 2024. Closed session begins at 5 p.m. Open session begins at 6 p.m. And we're adjourning this meeting in honor of Anita James, the mother of Reuben James. The meeting is now adjourned at 8:57.
The board